Hi. If you're listening to this right now, it's because I actually chose to release this, which, at the time of recording, I don't know what I'm doing with this. Let me explain. So, hi, hello, I guess my name is Adam, Arco, Skeleton Man, whatever. And recently, I've kind of been going through it. I've been encouraged by a lot of people to start some sort of diary or some sort of cognitive thing to keep down on my thoughts, but that never really sat well with me. I can't really put things that I feel into text, so I figured I'd make this weird little, well, inspired by dumb games like BioShock, I'd make a audio diary. Again, I don't know if I'll ever release this, or if anyone else aside from me will even hear this, but again, if you're hearing it, hi. So, recently, July 15th, or not July 15th, June 15th, it's kind of a blur, my dad died. And I've had this complicated relationship with him that, for lack of better terms, in case other people do hear this, it's never been as clean as I'd like to hope it would have been. Like, we've had our ups and downs with just kind of being mad at each other, or, you know, I grew up with him. He was first in my life when I was like 13, so I've gone through the whole gambit of emotions of, I fucking hate you, or oh, you're cool, and a lot of who he was reflects onto me in some weird ways, and just, I'm at this impasse where he had a lot of medical issues. He was a diabetic, a genetic, and an alcoholic. And for those of you out there, if anyone's listening, for those of you out there who know somebody similar, it's not a good combo. Especially in his case, he was just generally depressed about his life. It wasn't going the way he had imagined it in certain ways, and he'd have his ups and downs just independent of any drama, you know. But it finally got him. I don't know how to feel about that, even saying it out loud, because over the years, I've seen him basically almost just keel over multiple times from not taking care of himself and not feeling good about himself and just mistreating himself, and it's finally happened. It's finally come true, I guess. And I've just kind of had this overwhelming feeling of just a mixture of sadness and, you know, just numbness. It comes and goes, but just this weird feeling of almost sadness but apathy. And I really, really hope that's not that's not how I'm just gonna handle all this stuff in the future, but I just don't know why, I guess. I consider myself a man who's very put together. Emotionally speaking, at least, I can at least deal with my own things and figure them out and just tangibly quantify them. I have, because of seeing his up and downs over the years, as just an aging with that, I had to grow up to understand what was happening very quick, and that almost led to me becoming a therapist and going into that route of trying to understand, make sense of it. But looping it back around, I have this experience of having to deal with my emotions and complicated emotions in a way that I can actually process. But this is the first time in a while that I don't really know how to move forward through this. With the sadness part, it's obvious he was my dad, and even though I didn't like him in certain aspects, and we had our disagreements for sure, I miss him, obviously. I had cut him out of my life, mostly, but I'd still see him every now and then. But it's a weird feeling when the last conversation I had with the guy was talking about how if he doesn't take care of himself, he's gonna fuck himself over, and then here we are. But then couple that with the apathy, with the general, I don't want to say apathy, but the general numbness of just waking up and not really feeling like I want to do anything anymore, this depression haze. But I know that's not I know that's not obviously the way I can't live like this forever, but I just have this weird wall I can't get past. Like, I know I'm not really a popular internet creator or anything, but I choose to believe there's some people that actually get something out of what I'm making, and a part of me wants to self-motivate, wants to kick back into, okay, we're gonna do it, we're gonna get it done, we're gonna make some videos on some games and talk about all this cool shit, and wow, look at how cool this is. But another part of me, I just can't get over that apathetic wall, I guess. And I don't know. If I do release this, I don't really have anything. I don't expect people to have anything to say. I don't really want to fish for, oh, I'm so sorry, or anything like that. It's just more, a part of me, for the first time in my life, doesn't really know how to deal with this, and so I'm just trying to deal with it in the form of this weird audio log. But I don't know. I guess maybe I could talk about how I found him, or how, well, I didn't find him, but essentially, my mom has also been going through some medical stuff, in and out of the hospital for surgeries. Nothing super critical, at least nothing like life-threatening, I should say, but just progressively doing that. And she had told me she'd originally gone in for a day surgery, and I won't go into, again, in case I do release this, I'm not going to go into tons of details for the sake of her own privacy and mine, but she went for a day surgery and originally had asked me, because it was around the 13th, his birthday was on the 13th, by the way, he was 50, and 2 days later just gone, but she had asked me to text him, and I, again, not having a good relationship with him, I put it off. What day surgery? I was like, oh, I'll just put it off till she gets back, and then I'll let him know. And then that turned into 3 days, right? So on the 15th, or around there, again, it's a blur, but it turned into a few days. She gets back, and I'm talking with her about it because he hasn't reached out. Hasn't reached out to me, hasn't reached out to anybody, and normally he's pretty, you know, we'll say quick about that. He wants to know she's okay, and of course she's been going through stuff. And so I get this weird feeling. I don't really know how to quantify it, but it's a feeling of, like, just a silent knowing in your head, I guess, it ticked on, where I was kind of alerted to, oh, something's probably happening, hopefully it's alright. And then I get a text from her, like, hey, can you come over here, it's pretty important. And when I walk into the room, she's crying, and I instantly knew what I was going to hear. I've never seen her that devastated before over anything. And so we hop in the car. He lived in an apartment across town. We go to visit, and by the time we got there, a family friend had found him, and the police were there, the medical investigator, all that. So he's in a body bag. And I know it's him. I didn't have to, they didn't want us to see, because apparently it had been a little bit, but I'm no stranger to horrible things on the internet. I've seen my fair share, and just in real life, but a part of me, I should have asked to see him, but I just didn't. But I recognized the pose he was in. It's the same pose where, again, in case I do release this, if you have diabetic seizures or anything, people tend to tense up in a specific way with their arms, right? And having seen him go through his up and downs over the years, I knew the pose immediately. And from there, it's just been a blur. A weird, sometimes sad, sometimes, I guess, depressive in an apathetic sense, blur. And I'd have strategies to deal with this. Of course, I have a support group and people I talk to and people who care about me and all that. I'm not like, I'm not depressed in the don't feel the energy to get up and do things. And iron walling my way through the whole thing only worked so far, and now we're at this point where, as of recording, it's 6 in the morning on July 5th. I've been up since yesterday, July 4th, and it all still feels like it's so fresh. I wish I had an answer to this type of thing. A part of me feels like I should have an answer to every situation, you know, being a semi-smart, charismatic man, but I don't have it. And so, I guess that leads us back to here. This weird audio diary that I may or may not release. This isn't going to be organized thoughts, if anything. This is just something to help me work myself through this. And if people happen to see this, and I don't know, if I do put it out on YouTube and accidentally mark it as public or something, then feel free. Comment below if you're still listening or whatever. But I always hate coming across like a disingenuous YouTube persona. Like some guy who just, oh, sorry, you know, my dad died, but you don't have to click on this tee-hee types of people. I don't want to be that. If this goes out there, it's for me, I guess. But I'm at this weird point where I just don't really know what to do or how to move forward past this. It's hard. I keep... Oh, you idiot. I keep reiterating about whether or not I'm going to release it, but if somebody else is hearing this, it's out there, stupid. Well, I guess I'm just going to go forward with this, like, if it's out there, so I don't have to keep explaining that, but I'm at this point where I'm getting older, and my life isn't really shaping it up how it wants to be, and then my dad keels over, and I had such a complicated relationship with him from so many different angles that I'd never be able to get down in an audio log, just ups and downs and moments of peace and clarity, while other times I thought he was the worst fucking person ever, and just all the family drama, because I actually have a bunch of stepbrothers and stepsisters, and some of which I'd never met, and then having to organize all that to come to this little celebration of just, hey, this is who he was, and this is what happened, and it's also surreal. I guess if I had to summate these past 2 weeks, well, I guess it's a little over 2 weeks at this point, but still doesn't feel like it. 3 weeks, I guess. It's all a weird, surreal blur that I've never experienced before. Not like a waking dream surreal, but like a surreal where, because of the depressive haze, time's just passing and I just feel like I'm not even really a part of it anymore. But not in a disassociation sense, that sounds weird, but it's just been moment for moment, right? One thing after another, with figuring out the funeral and figuring out all that, and then dealing with the emotions, and then the separate emotions of all these people who've come into our lives and who had maybe been a part of it before through him, but have come out to help, and it's just... that's just where I'm at right now. I'm on like this mental plateau where I don't really know where I move from this. Like, as of well, I said writing, but as of speaking, I guess that's a really good audio journal if I'm saying as of writing. But as of speaking, we're through the song and dance. If I wanted to know where we had him cremated, but if I wanted to know where his ashes were, they're right over there. Across the way, maybe 20 feet from me. Not in the room, obviously, but, you know, he's right there. So, but I have this weird, I don't know. How do I picture myself on this precipice, this plateau of some sort of understanding for how to move forward with this, and I'm just overlooking this giant chasm of where my life could go and different fields and interesting things, and it's just, I don't really know where I move from here. It's no secret over the years, I've been streaming for a while, and of course I'd love to turn it into a viable job or whatever if I could maintain a schedule worth a fuck, but I know for a fact I'm not the most, we'll say, active personality in terms of a streamer. I'm not really, what's the word? Streaming tends to cater towards either you're super bombastic and you're constantly carrying an audience via pure hype, or you're actually really, really good at what you're playing. And I fall into the weird category where I'm probably okay at what I'm playing, but I'm also not really super interesting. I'm just a guy who plays video games on the internet. So it's had its ups and downs, we'll say. And then I tried Donk-Zone and the idea of covering indie games and seeing the potentiality people creates in a way to share my passion for shit people make without making reviews. Reviews always stump me up. I cannot put all the crazy shit that I want to think of into any form of written word. I'll try to, and I'll just toss out the scripts, but maybe first impressions are maybe something that lends closer to what I wanted to, but and that's been growing slowly. I've met a lot of nice people through that. I mean, I'm in a video game because of it, so that's nice, but it's... I can't do this forever. I need to sit down and actually figure out my life and what I'm gonna do. Especially considering I'm at this weird plateau where, as I'm getting older, I'm not a kid anymore, but more like, I feel like I should have done something with my life already. And I think the shock of losing someone who I had almost considered a granted, even through ups and downs, is just... it's just hard. I don't know if it's worth continuing the Donk-Zone stuff. I mean, it's... no matter what, I could continue it on my own as a hobby. Like, that probably won't change, but more like... there's like this optimistic idealism I want to have with the things that I make. It's not high quality content. It's not anything that people are super attached to, obviously. It's not even anything really popular, but it's something I've been enjoying making, and just meeting so many cool devs and people. Like, I'll shout out Meet Dev. Meet Dev has been a joy to interact with, and just the whole Chambers VA stuff. I told my dad about that. I was like, look, it's my name in the credits. Maybe this'll make me, maybe I'll go somewhere with this, who knows? I could put this on my CV and go, look at that, professional voice actor. But on another end, I feel like there's some sort of something I'm missing. Some sort of weird key to everything that would just, man, I'll magically hit that and then suddenly everything's super popular and I meet all the cool devs. Like the big face guy, he'll be like, damn, Arco, I want you in my game. Please design my game for me, Skeleton Man. You're so based and epic. But, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I mean, I could obviously get better in terms of my execution. That's fine. It's not like I'm putting a lot of effort into thumbnails and all that anyway. Like, I'm putting in some, but not... you know, I could optimize for the algorithm and turn into a soulless husk of a person, but... maybe that is a secret. Maybe the secret is that if I want to actually get somewhere with any of this stuff, I'm just gonna have to sell my soul and bite the bullet. Start making tier lists and fucking talking about 5 new epic indie games that are gonna suck your dick and blow your mind, but I don't like doing that. I wish there was a way to convey this philosophy to people easier. I've mentioned it a few times in recordings, but games are an experience. They're something wholly unique to video games. This beautiful creation from someone's mind that are usually made by smaller teams in the words of indies, but, you know, AAA exists, but besides the point. They're these small, medium, large, whatever, experiences condensed to make you feel something. An extension of someone's thoughts and their creativity laid bare in a way that art only can be. A fundamental mixture of technology and the arts to create something that couldn't exist otherwise. I could make a movie about BioShock, but you're never going to get the experience of feeling it. And if I write it down, you're never going to truly see what I'm picturing, you know? I use BioShock as an example because I just picture, you know, let's say Frontier Futuristics. If you've ever played the game, hypothetical listener, you'll know what I'm talking about. But something like that, where it's a full experience for something. You can't get that anywhere else. The confluence of so many talented people and so much raw energy, I guess, for lack of a better term, to make something like that is just invaluable to me. The idea of creating something like that. And moreover, I think indies are all the more appreciable solely because you have people practically putting their heart on their sleeves in what they make. From anyone you can think of, any indie dev you can imagine, we'll say the guy who made Cave Story to Cruelty Squad Man, Meat Dev to, I don't know, maybe even Ace, if you count highly detailed mods. There's such an amazing contrast between all these people and what they're making and what their brains 3D print onto their fucking screens via their hands, you know? And a part of me just thinks back to when I was younger and YouTube channels were popular showing off random horror indie games, and I miss that ideological exploration of what somebody's made. Like Schizo games, for example, are beautiful pieces of art. Obviously, in playing them, sometimes they're crusty fucking messes, but that's the intended experience. That's what somebody deliberately chose to do. No matter how much semantics or, you know, hyperbole there is surrounding a game, let's take something like Cruelty Squad. I don't like Cruelty Squad, but I respect it. I respect the artistry. I respect what he's trying to say and the points that went across with that. I respect everything because that guy put in fucking hours of his life to make that. And I just wish we'd all appreciate that a little more, I guess. There's devs who probably feel like I do, much more talented people than me, who make their weird art and feel like the world isn't listening, and I hope that I can, I guess, somehow change that. And looping this all back to the feelings with my dad, I never really had a chance to tell him I was doing any of the YouTube stuff. I've mentioned streaming, I've mentioned attempting YouTube multiple times. I even, when I was a kid, he really liked cooking. So, he taught me how to cook. We made a beef Wellington together at one point, which highly recommend. But I had suggested to him a long time ago about making a YouTube channel and doing that, and he was always afraid to. And I'm, I guess, standing... I'm breaking up shit. I guess I'm standing at this precipice, standing at this weird feeling, and thinking, am I the one who's now afraid to just go with the flow and get better and do things? It all sounds so stupid saying it out loud, fuck's sake. But, you know, I guess that's how feelings work. They're really complicated, multi-layered fucking facets of what make us who we are, and I don't know. But anyway, I guess a part of me feels like at this point, like I need to up the ante, like I really need to commit to the YouTube stuff and just dive wholeheartedly into it and call it a job, call it what I'm doing, and just do everything I can for it. But another part of me feels like, is this idea of showing indie games to people, of talking, of meeting devs and all this, is this all just me? Do people even actually care? They can go find the games themselves. Why do they need me? You know? And it's not like I have a target demographic or anything here. I'm just making shit on the internet, so I don't know. A part of me has, one thing that's kept all of this going is just occasionally I'll get a comment from a dev. I'll make a video with like 20 views on it, and I'll get a dev who's wholeheartedly interacting and almost proud that somebody's playing this, and that shit keeps me going. The fact that somebody obviously making something and taking their time to watch the video and actually comment on what I'm saying, that's one thing, but the fact that they can even find a hypothetical, let's say, 5 to 50 view video about their game is fucking insane. And so many nice people I've interacted with who, even if it's sometimes just surface level hellos, other times with, let's say, Meet Dev, it's like an extended conversation that turns into, you know, us just chatting occasionally. I don't believe I'm incorrect. I know the devs want people to see their games as much as anyone else, but marketing is a mysterious beast at this point. Getting found on the internet in a sea, an actual ocean of content, some better and some worse than mine, is just... it's hard. It wears you down. And I think maybe sometimes devs are excited to see that somebody's interested in their game, even super early on. I guess I'm rambling. I'll get to what I mean to. I wanted to keep this to 30 minutes, so if you're hearing this, hi, I'm wasting time, but ideally with Donk-Zone and with any of my creations, I guess, they're not art, they're not anything super crazy. A showcase of someone else's talent isn't really art, but I like making it. I like talking about other people, sue me. But I think the ideal with Donk-Zone is that I find a way to make something I think my dad would be proud of, obviously. Hey son, you're doing a good job. But I'd know he'd support me anyway. Just, you know, something that I'd feel comfortable showing him is the goal. Something that devs can actually email me and go, cover my thing, which I've gotten a few of those, but, you know, like a real showcase channel, I guess. And then maybe expanding it to doing stuff with my friends, or somehow find a way to get reviews going. Make a semi-professional YouTube channel about a guy who likes talking about indie games. And I just hope that's not a weird fantasy I've created in my head. This weird, almost unattainable fantasy. And I guess with streaming, I'm not really much of a streamer, but I have some people who follow me. I'd obviously like that to potentially pick up to a point where I could consider that a job, but I'm kind of accepted at this point, 7 years out or so, that it's mostly a pipe dream of you can't really make a living playing Doom mods. I mean, there's not too many people doing it, but, you know, that's how it is. Anyway, I guess the time code's coming ever so quickly. 30 minutes passes like it's nothing. I feel a lot better for this. This is probably something I needed to do. Just get some of these feelings off my chest that bounce around in my head that I probably should have put to spoken word a while ago. And I guess if you're hearing this, dear viewer, creature, potential archaeologist digging through a dead man's computer, I hope you enjoyed or got something out of this. That's kind of all I want with anything I make, even if it's a weird private log that may or may not come out. Again, today is the 5th of July, 2024. It's 6:30. My name is Adam, or Arco, or your favorite skeleton man. And I guess I'll still be around. If you're hearing this and you're not me, you know, feel free to send me an email, hit me up on Discord, whatever you want to do. Devs, if you have projects you want to show me, show me. I'd love to see them. As long as they're not, like, super crusty. Like, I don't mind, like, alphas and stuff, but if you, like, cobble together a Unity thing, like, I made Gorilla Tag. Like, show me your art. Show me what you want to show the world, I guess. Anyway, I've always been bad at outros, but again, thanks for listening, and see you later.